Greetings. I am presenting a new image. This is a SuperGirl image that I just created. It's a Ubuntu16 image. Basically, I call it my level 3. It's just about where you'd go for CyberCamp, the basic at that point. I do have a level 1, level 2. It's available that a little bit easier, more intro levels. But level 3 starts getting into a little bit more of the different deeper functions of when you need to look at forensics and the different functions of the operating system and so forth, and how to fix them. So anyway, we're going to show you what the different, through this walkthrough, show the difference, the solution to this image. So there are 23 issues with this image, ranging from all kinds of different things. So again, this is basically at a more of a not a novice, but more of just beginning, but a little bit beyond that. But just beyond, just like I said, you just went to the CyberCamp. So further ado, let's go ahead and let's see if we can't solve this. And I'll show you how I would solve all this. Now remember, whatever you do, I'm not going to do a checklist on this one, but make sure you would go through your checklist, and you should be able to follow through this. First thing, obviously, in any vulnerability, any image, you always want to do the README file. So we're going to take a look at the README file. I'm going to move these over to the right so they get kind of out of the way. And my recommendation is to just read through this README. I'll kind of scroll through it so you can kind of see what's it's asking you. It kind of follows a little bit of the storyline of SuperGirl. If you don't know the story of SuperGirl, she is the cousin of Superman. I'll leave it at that. But and she's a crime fighter and all that stuff. So she's got her crime fighting team along with her sister and so forth. So anyway, it is actually available on Netflix if you're interested. Anyway, you got critical services, you got authorized admins, you got authorized users. So we'll just hold it there. Next thing I usually like to bring open right away, so I just have it handy. It's a scoring report, so I'm gonna. So this just says this is SuperGirl Ubuntu16 level 3 practice round. There are 23 scored issues to be fixed, and we'll see how many. Shoot, better go all 23. So we're gonna go through one at a time. So the next thing after the README is the forensic questions. There are 3 forensic questions that are available. Let's take a look at the first one. This brought up. So, which users are members of the group villains? So we're going to have to go out there. I'm going to do Control T to bring up the prompt, and that's just the get ENT command. Group villains, as long as it's spelled is correct. There's our group. So we're going to go ahead and so we have lexluthor. So I'm going to just copy this, and let's go ahead and bring sarias down one level. Get rid of the comma, and let's go ahead and save it. Okay, well, that's doing that. I'm going to go ahead and also update my log. I always recommend to my cadets to always carry log as we're doing this. The next question, bring that up. Kara Zorel has a cipher graphic PDF. She cannot remember where she saved it. It's it's 168,490 bytes in length, somewhere on the hard drive. So see the next forensic question for part 2. So there's 2 parts to this. So the first part is, what is the absolute path, including the file name? So it's going to be something like /home/kzrl/some file somewhere.pdf, or so we think. We'll see. All right, so this one, since your car is URL, you probably can do this, but you don't know where. So you can do a find / you don't know where it is. Could be in the home directory, but you don't know. She didn't say it was only in the home. And we want to do a /type. We know it's a file type. We also know the size. So the size is 168,490, and then that's in bytes. If you know the byte size, it's a C at the end of all of that number. And we can even do it. We know the owner. The user is going to be CyberCamp. Let's see if it. And if you notice, it spit out a whole bunch of stuff on us. So I'm going to do an up arrow, and I'm going to basically all the error stuff, I'm going to say throw it in the bit bucket. So the way to do that is just say 2 greater than sign /dev/null. So now anything that's basically bit bucket stuff that you saw there, permission denied, throw it away. I don't want to see it. So now it's very nice. I'm going to copy this, put this in my notes, and we want to put. So now it tells me how I did it. So now we need to copy this part. So I'm just highlighting it, do a right mouse click, copy, and we want to paste it. All right, very good. So let's go ahead and save that. This actually is a cyber graphic. We were doing our Cyber Patriot badge. So this is one of the cadets that had made this one. Let's go to question number 3. So it says, Kara can't remember what it said. Please help her decode it. So now it does give us a hint. It is a bit cipher. Decipher the graphic and determine the plain text of the cipher. So now not all decoders work. If one doesn't work, try another. I will go right to the one that does work. So bit cipher decoder. And so you would do a Google search on that. Remember, Google's your friend. The one that seems to work is a scripty one. Not sure why the other ones don't seem to work for this one. So I haven't been able to get it to work. And I need to bring that up. So let me go ahead and go into files. And it says it's in bar. So to get to that from this, go to computer, bar, and there's the cyber graphic. We're going to double click on it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And we'll copy it, just highlight it. Highlighting works fine. Control C. And then we're going to change this to decode. We want to be, this is our cipher side. Change that to our cipher text. And then we know our key. So our key is cipher, right? So Control C that. Cipher. Plain text. There it is. Congrats on finding this decoded message. Excellent. We're going to go ahead and be done with this. Done with the cyber graphic. Close that out. And we can put our answer here. So we're going to go ahead and save. And we're going to get out of that website. All right. part we're going to do is okay. So one of the nice things that I like to do, the next part I usually like to do is set everything up to do the auto updates. I like to do the auto updates first. So let me go ahead and close this out. We don't need this anymore. Let's close that out. And sometimes there's a wheel over here you can click on. If the wheel's not there, you can click on this gear icon on the top right. If that's still not there for some reason, you can always do a search and you can look for software. Click on software. Look for software and updates if you're looking for. Okay, so now you should have this. It's gonna, once you click on any of these, it's gonna prompt you for a password. And you should know that from your README. So I'm gonna, on the Ubuntu side, I'd like to click the top 3. So let's go ahead and put our password in. Top 3 I'd like to click. Bottom 2 unchecked. Both canonical partners. Updates, all 3 of them. Automatically check for updates daily. That's where you get a lot of times the points come in. And notify the version. This one's never. And go ahead and hit close. At this point, you can click on reload. I'm gonna wait on that for a second. You'll see in a second why. But you can hit reload if you want. All right. So at this point, I'm gonna do a sudo su. I want to start doing those updates right away. So I like to get at least 2 windows open on that. So, and let me change to the Etsy directory. It doesn't make difference which directory as long as you're in sudo su. apt-get update. That's going to go ahead and do all the repositories, get them all aligned. That's what, if you had clicked on reload, it would have done that. So, okay. While it's doing that, I'm going to open up another terminal, get this one going. And like I said, I like to get 2 sudo sus going. So sudo su. And we'd like to get next thing after the updates. So there's three lines I'll be putting in here. I can do them all one line, but I'll do that more in maybe the advanced rounds, but I'll show you just one at a time. All right, so this usually goes pretty quick. You can see why now I can have access to this other one. I can start doing other stuff while this is doing its thing. So go to the Etsy directory. I definitely need to be in the Etsy directory for this because I need to start looking at all the users. Now, one of the things that I recommend for users is just a cat. You remember all your users are in the file called password. So just take a look at that file. And I would scan through it. There should be one root user with a user ID of 0. If you see someone with another 0 user ID, that's very, very bad, and you need to get rid of that user. It can be a little challenging to try to get rid of that user. We did see that in the advanced CyberCamp. So, and that's also my CyberCamp video. But in solving that one, so if you do see another one, that can be kind of challenging to get rid of it. But there are ways of doing it. So we're just thinking. Usually your users start at 1,000. So here's Kara. She's starting at 1,000, and you can see they 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's good. So we're going to go ahead and get a list of that. So the way it usually works is username, password, user ID, which is a number, a group ID, which is also a number, All right, so let's see what users we can pull out now. So now you can see, after you investigate this a little further, let's go ahead and pull it out. There's actually a nice command using the awk command. I'll try to explain it as I do it. Awk-f:. If you remember, all of these are fields. So the fields are separated by colons. So we're saying our field separator is a colon. So that's what we're doing. We're separating the fields by colons, or we're identifying the fields are separated by colons. And we're going to say, in single quote, we're going to say our $3. That is our third field. That's going to be our user ID field. We want those that are greater than equal to 1,000. Remember, user ID starts at 1,000 usually. And we want them, we can do all of them, but we can limit it a little bit. So I'll not limit it, you can kind of see what happens here. So we can say that we want this printed. We want it to print hash, password. We'll see how this comes into play in a minute, but the password, remember, you want to change passwords on each of these users. So $1, that's the user ID, or username, sorry. And then mypass.txt in the quote, in the brace, in the single quote. And we do that to the etc password file. So if we do that, you kind of see what pulls up here. You see there's another extra person, nobody, that came up. If we had limited further, if you look for the nobody one, he's a pretty high number. I think like 65,000. Here we go, 65,000. So if we limit it, we can always delete them later on. We'll just delete them. So we're going to go ahead and sort this, because a lot of times it's nice to have it sorted by output time. So it makes it a lot easier for us. So we're going to go ahead and sort it. So we're going to pipe that output to a sort command. And so if I just hit enter at this point, you can see what it does. You can see now everything's sorted alphabetically. And so we just remember we're going to delete nobody when we start editing the file. And the next thing we're going to do, we need to redirect our output, because obviously we need to edit this, and we're going to redirect that output to a file of your choice. I usually do is myusers.sh. This is the shell script we're going to create. And now I'm going to copy that just so it's in my notes. And put that in my notes here for today. And here we go. And then we want to edit this file. So we want to gedit myusers.sh. And I'm going to do an ampersand for a second there. It's going to put it in the background. It gives me my prompt back. So now I can have my prompt back. If I didn't do that, I could not do anything to this one. Up here, we've already did the, let's go ahead, we did the update. We got to do the upgrade. And we always want to do a -y. -y so they will say answer yes to anything it asks. It prompts a yes, no question for. So let's go ahead and say upgrade yet -y. Let that run. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the myusers.sh. And if you recall, we want, our first thing we're going to do is we want to get rid of the nobody. Let's get rid of that one. Be easier. Easier. All right, so a couple of things here we want to keep track of. K0 is you. We don't change that password, so we're gonna. I usually work from the right side to the left side on this. I'll go down the list as it's shown from the right side down, matching up to the left. And if anybody, so K0 better be over here, over on the left side. If they're not, then I need to add them at the bottom. If I get to the end and I still have some commented, then that means those need to be deleted. So we may actually have some delete, some adds. We'll see. So K0, this is, I usually mark down, this is me, don't touch, just so that I know that I had processed that one. Okay, adanvers, that's SuperGirl's sister in the show. And we're going to go ahead and uncomment adanvers out. So it's going to change the password for that user. jjons, that's the next one. That's this one here. We're going to uncomment. J Olsen, that's Jimmy Olsen. You remember from Superman. He comes to work for with Supergirl in the show. Uncomment and when shot. Don't see a when shot, so we're gonna add WSCHOTT. Just put a placeholder. We know we have to add them. So C grant, cat grant. We're gonna go ahead and uncomment C grant. And Mel uncomment. Okay, so we did Mel. Now we go to M Sawyer. So let's get to M Sawyer. And we want to do L Luthor. That is Lex Luthor's. So it looks like we got a couple people. We have Lex Luthor in there. Obviously, he's a bad guy. Lex Luthor is a sister, a much nicer person. So we need to remove. To remove, we will use the user del command. So we're going to change this to a user del or user delete, and then we get rid of the rest. Sarias is also another one. That is a bad character, kind of a doctor. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of thing. User del, and we're going to go ahead and we need to add wshot back in. So we need the way to do that is we go user add -m, and we'll put all of the set up the home directories. And when that completes successfully, that's the and button. Double and we run this next password as just like we have above, same username with mypass.txt. Okay. At the very top, we're going to add, let's say echo, and we want password 1234. That's in quotes, and we're going to say. And one of the things you have to do on this one is, since these $signs are special characters, you have to use a backslash, which is an escape character in Linux. That will tell Linux to use it literally. Don't use the special character part of that. And so we'll put them for both. It's literally use $sign for that character. So we're going to go ahead and copy this one more time just below it. And I'm going to, so a single redirection operator says create this mypass file, and two of them will append the data. So if I just had two single, it's only going to have the one password 1234. So one of these I'm going to have the second one I have to have a second redirection operator to append. Otherwise, it just has one and it's going to fail. So we don't want it to fail, so that's good there. Is there anything else I need to do? Okay. There are some other things in here. I'm going to add that into this file here while we're doing it. We know we have to create some groups, right? So we know we have to create groups. Remember, we had two groups to create. So there's a group add command, and we have to add the DEO group, and we have to add the cat code group. Okay. So while we have to add users to those groups, right? So we have to add users to our groups, our newly created groups. And we're going to add in, that's using there's different ways of doing that. The way I like doing it is the gpassword command. A is for add. So we're going to add K0L to the DEO group. If you so if you scroll up here, you'll see instead of a group without the quotes, add K0L, adanvers, jjons, wshot to this DEO group. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this one. So we're going to add adanvers. Copy it again. And we're going to add jjons. And we're going to wshot. Okay, so they're all going to be added. Now, if you want to take anybody out of a group, it'd be a -D. So it's the gpassword -A to add, the username, and then the group name. And then to delete somebody, it'd be a -D, again, username, group name. And there'll be some here shortly. So the next group we want to add to is the cat code group. So let's go ahead and update that. So we're going to add K0L to the cat code group, right? And we're going to add, so let's get this going. So we have to add the cat code group. We need to add these people. K0L, J. Olson, and Cat Grant. So Cat Grant. Right, so those will add to that group. Since we're talking about groups, let's take also a look at our. This is why I did remember I did the $sign here. So I need to look at our pseudo group. So here's our pseudo group. I'm just going to pull that up here for a second. Copy that in. Check on that. So let's go down in our README and see who our admins need to be. So I'm just going to, so K0L is good, so I'm going to say delete. Adanvers, okay, Mel, and M. Sawyer. However, we need to add jjons. So there's a couple of things we need to do. So let's go ahead and kind of have it. Let's copy it from up here. Add jjons first to the pseudo group. want mail, and we want to delete. So we're going to delete mail, and we're going to delete M. Sawyer. So again, it's delete username group name from that group. So that's good. So this is going to do all this stuff for us. And since we're in a kind of in a, this is also a nice way. If you have other commands that you do all the time, this is another way of, it's like Firewall, right? We always do the Firewall, right? So that's UFW. So the best way to do that is you just say UFW, enable the Firewall. And since this is an SSH server, we need to say UFW allow SSH. So we have to allow SSH through the firewall. That way we can yeah, you want SSH through it. Everything else will be basically blocked, which is good. Okay, I think we are good at this point. You want to grab, I already have it grabbed, and I'll go ahead and run it in a second. So that's good. We're going to save it and exit. Okay, and you can see it says done now. It came back. So we're going to go ahead and my users. There's the way to execute this. We have to change the mod on this, the executable bit. My users.sh. Now, if I were to run that same command again, I'd be able to LL, which is basically lifting it out. Now I have the executable bit, and it does change color a little bit, which indicates these are executable. See that star and that's green. So to run it, we say / my users.sh, and it's changed, adding all of those users. It's deleting users. It's setting the firewall rules, adding the groups, changing book. We started at 23, and if we refresh, we got 8 more very quickly. So now Firefox has been updated, Bash has been updated. That all happened with this update. So we're going to go ahead at this point, and I'm going to do a dist upgrade. Dist upgrade is where your distribution upgrade is where your, among other things that happens is your Linux kernel comes in. And a lot of times you get points for that. So I'm going to run, and if we need to, well, we'll reboot as well. Once this is done, we'll reboot the machine, which goes really quick, especially for this early on. You'll see we should get points for it. All right. So let me add this to the notes. Okay. Let's see where we're at here. We should be. So we have, okay, is there any, now while this is doing updating, you cannot remove anything. If you want it done here. So a good thing to do at this point would probably have been, you can edit files, but you can't do any adds or deletes. So at this point, I tell you what, since this is stopped here, done quite well, I'm going to go ahead and get out of this one, and I'm just going to type in reboot, and it will hopefully shut everything down, start everything back up, and hopefully we should get our points for our Linux kernel. So we'll see. All right, so if you see your screen looking like this, go back up to the top, look for that. Yeah, so we're going to go up to the top. It says we're going to go ahead and exit full screen mode and enter full screen mode. So you might have to do it a couple times to get full screen back. Now we got the full screen. All right. So now let's go ahead and bring back up the README, and we're going to be also bringing. Oh, sorry there. So here it's 15. So what did we get? We got Linux kernel came in. That's good. Auto updates, Firefox, good. Everything else, good. All right. All right. Next thing we want to look for is our guest account. So again, we need our sudo su. You'll spend a lot of time in this terminal. So I like doing sudo su right away. I'd like to have at least 2 of these open. So we need to disable our guest account. The way to do that is we're going to go to the etc directory. And it should be in the lightdm folder. So I'm going to go to lightdm. If I do an LL. Now you may run into this. It's usually you're looking for a lightdm.conf file. There's no lightdm.conf file here, so we're going to have to create one. The way to do that is you do a touch command, lightdm.conf. And we want to then gedit. If you notice, we'll do an LL here, you'll see. So now we created the file. It's important that it's root, by the way. So we're going to go ahead and edit this file. Gedit lightdm.conf. And there's nothing in it, so what we're going to be adding are the, I'll get that in a second here. Give me a minute. There we go. So it's the seat command, and we want to add in allow dash guest equals false. We add that, and then we save it, and then we exit. Should get points. Okay. Go ahead and add that to my notes. Okay. And the next thing we want to do, let's see what's the next thing. Guest account's been disabled, so we want to set up our password days. So a good place for this is the login.def file. So let's go ahead and it's in the etc directory. We're going to edit the login. Now you can always just type in login, and I'm going to autocomplete since that's enough. If you hit the tab key at this point, it will autocomplete that. If it doesn't autocomplete, it means there's probably more other options out there. It's not unique enough. So just be conscious of that. So I'm going to go edit this. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger, a little wider. And there's a lot of stuff in this file, so I'm going to do Control F, and I'm going to type in pass. And my max days on these sets 90, min days 10, warning age is 7. The other thing you want to check for is usually right below it, login retries, no more than 5. Just be aware of that. So save. We're going to exit out. Okay, we are rolling along. Go ahead and put that down for what I did. There we go, password age policy. And it should be loaded. Okay. There we go. Default password max days, that's 90. Default password min days, that's 10. So we are 80 points. We have 18 out of 23. We're doing good. Let's see what's next. So we already set the firewall protection on. Okay. We've done auto updates. We've got the Linux kernel. So there are things that we need to see what's installed, right? So this is obviously this free Doom. So we're going to go ahead and I'll show you how to look for this. So there's a great command called dpackage. And you want to do a grep. I just like doing the enhanced grep. It seems to works a little bit better. And I'm just going to say Doom here. And you'll see that there's Doomsday. So we need to get rid of all of this. So I'm going to copy. So the way to get rid of it is apt-get purge. Remember, there's a remove and purge. Purge will actually get rid of everything, including the. But now I got to list all these. Doomsday, dash common, Doomsday, got to spell it correctly. Data, and then free Doom. Now I'm going to do a dash Y here. So again, remember, if it prompts me to yes, I want it to automatically say yes. So let me go ahead and copy what I have here. I want to put that in my notes. So this is removing Doom. All right. And let's go ahead and hit enter at this point. And if you notice on the left, that went away. So that's good. Okay. Let's see, we got a bash. Bash has been updated. That happened when we did our updates or upgrades. Firefox has been updated, so that's good. Okay, let's take a look. There's also those pesky MP3 files a lot of times, right? So it's most of the time these are always seem to be found in the home directory. I'm not sure why, but well, the users, right? That's where the users have. We say find home, and we know it's type F, it's a file type, and we also know we don't know who the users are. We just know that we can say iname. You can say name here if you know, but if in case there's some uppercase characters, we're going to say star.mp3. Let's ignore the case. Let's see what we get. We got a few. That's a few. Looks like Kara and Cat Grant share music, right? So we're going to go ahead. The way to delete these is you want, now that we know that with the results of that command is what we want to delete, you can execute a remove. RM stands for remove, and for each file that comes up, that's what the braces are for, and keep doing it until it's done. That's what the plus basically says. So I'm going to copy this, and we'll go ahead and run that. If I hit that run again, you'll see that it's gone. Everything's let me go ahead and add. All right. Good enough. Now we got 19 out of 23. And let's see what's next. All right, so they had Doomsday in here, and sometimes there's other commands you want to look for, but usually you're going to have a list. You can do a search up here. Sometimes that works. Kismet is another one. Usually you have to use Kismet there. So Kismet's a bad one. Aircrack doesn't show up here. Okay. What else do we have? We have okay, so let's get rid of Kismet. We know that. So dpackage-l, and I'm going to do egrep Kismet. Okay. So our to get rid of this one, apt-get purge Kismet, and it's only one. I'm going to say -y, so it doesn't prompt me. Because yes, I do want to get rid of it. Hit enter. Let that run, and I'll update my notes. All right. Kismet. Now, if you notice, I didn't see an air crack on that one, but you'll see in a second that it's still there. Just because that you don't show it in the search doesn't mean it's not there. So the way to look for that is that dpackage command. And I usually look for anything that says crack, because there's other applications out there. So crack lib runtime, lib crack, these are all good. You don't want to get rid of these, are good. Air crack ng is the bad one. So that's the one you want to get rid of. So you want to say apt-get purge air crack -ng. And again, I'm going to say -y for yes. I'm going to copy this to my notes so I have it. And I'm going to say run, and I'll update my notes while it's running. You want to look for anything that's ports, any ports that are kind of in danger. So let's take a look at them. And we have only one thing left. Looks like so. Netstat is a great command for that. TULPN is a great set of options. We will have to expand our window a little bit, so it's not so bad. So cups is good. DNS mask is good, but now PureFTP obviously is not a critical service. That's port 21. So DNS is port 53, but for PureFTP we want to get rid of. Everything else is good. So if you see it on an image, DHCline is good. Avahi Demon is good. Don't get rid of them. So we do have to get rid of PureFTP. So let's go ahead and see if package-l. So the -l obviously L for list, right? We want say egrep, and you can just do a FTP on this one. Now they have pure common. These are so the client is okay, server is not okay. So just be aware with it. The clients are usually not a problem. It's the servers that. So we're going to get rid of both of those. So I'm going to go apt-get purge PureFTPd and PureFTPd-com and -y, and I'm going to copy all of this so I have it. And let's say yes. All So, looks like we successfully completed 23 out of 23. And these are the vulnerabilities that were found. So question 1, question 2, question 3. We had some unauthorized users. We had some user that was an administrator. We had a user that needed to be an administrator. We had guest accounts that had to be disabled. We had changed some insecure passwords. We had to set some values to max password configuration, password policies. Set up our firewall. PureFTP has been disabled, so that's good. We've got our auto updates going. Our kernel's been updated. Some other files have been updated. We removed some unauthorized files, MP3 files, as well as Kismet, Aircrack, Doomsday, and we got our groups added. So congratulations, 23 out of 23, 100%. Well, I hope you like that. If you'd like to see more of these, please go ahead and like, share, let me know. Thank you so much.